This is the Conversation Project's Things You Might Not Have Heard. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. For you today, we have 10 official stories. 11 really snuck in. It comes about 13, 14. We have a lot of news packed into this weekend edition of the stories. Now, this is stories from the weekend. It's a first day edition, so we'll get more stories on this Monday. These are news articles that are covering information, politics, current events, and top culture news for you that you deemed as conversational. We're covering a lot of Donald Trump today. We have FKA Twigs and Alex Ovechkin. Those last two, I couldn't pick them out if I walked past them on the street, but they've been living rent-free in my head for quite some time due to you saying their thoughts are conversational. Their actions are conversational, so we're talking about them here. Now, we'll explain the vetting process, how conversational topics get into this here headline story here, all 10, 12, 13, whatever that comes out today. But remind you that our website home, this is theconversationproject.com, is where you can find out how we do things and the why we do things. And our email address is theconversationinbox@gmail.com, so we can conversate, we can talk directly on how things are going well or not so well. Today is Monday, April the 7th, 2025. As I said, 10 official stories, almost 11 official stories in the docket here. We'll explain how those stories got to be here in just a bit after we go and do all the headlines. The first headline is a story that I've actually had to re-record this thing 3 times because I'm having issues with retaliatory, that word. And don't be surprised if I have issues with it coming forward, but I don't have time to do a fourth edit. Trump's trade war escalates with China retaliating with 34% tariffs. Now, the ongoing trade conflict between the states, U.S. states, and China is now essentially a full-out war. Happening last week on April 2nd, Donald Trump imposed significant tariffs on China, 34% duty extra on what was already going to them, plus the cars and extra stuff. Their tariff rate is now effectively 54%. China's not quite down with that, so they dropped a retaliatory 34% tariff on U.S. imports. That's happening on April 10th. So by the end of the week, our stuff going into China will cost more, as our stuff coming in from China also will cost more, and the war continues. The escalating tariffs have actually contributed to significant volatility in financial markets. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped to 2 days about 2,000 points last week, losing about $6.4 trillion in market value. Now, the big story at this very moment, as I'm recording this on Monday morning, is that the futures are basically low. The markets overseas are tanking. Japan closed down much lower. Europe's not doing so great right now as I'm recording this. And our futures are down, Dow down about 1,700 last time I took a look at it. So it's not looking good for any of us at this moment in time going forward. Donald Trump says, we are sick. We're taking some medicine. It takes a while for the medicine to take effect. We'll see exactly how well the medicine will take effect very soon. Part of the issues with the tariffs caused an issue for the TikTok ban to be lifted or to be done with. And so President Trump has actually extended the ban that was supposed to end on Saturday, the 5th. Now, the deadline to really get things done was basically wrapped up. We're told behind the scenes that everything was sort of synced up by Friday, the 4th, but the tariffs came in. And the Chinese own ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok, and they wanted to negotiate some tariff stuff by using TikTok as a bargaining chip or something to that effect. We now have a deadline extension now to June 19th from was originally January 19th to see if they can actually put this deal to rest. Many companies have thrown their names in the hat last minute, including Walmart and Amazon, who have basically been laughed at with their actual propositions. But what we're seeing right now is China playing hardball on A, TikTok, and B, finding a way to sneak around maybe some of these tariffs that Trump has levied on them for all the things. It's going to see what happens. We'll see if somebody can buy it outright, and if they basically can actually buy the algorithm, which is the actual thing that's worth anything, the algorithm and how it makes it so magical, how we are so hooked into TikTok. That's what's going forward. Lawmakers are saying this is undermining national security concerns by just pushing back the can, kicking it back more and more, and not actually solving the problem. We said we're going to cut it off. Why aren't we cutting it off? Some are basically touting the fact that so many users are stating that this is a source of income, a source of revenue, source of information for many folks, whether you're on the right or the left. And so since people use this to make money, the president's kind of not so eager to get rid of it, although at one point in time he was eager to get rid of it until someone told him they helped him get elected. We shall see if negotiations actually work out going towards that 19th, if they're actually going to do anything about it, or if we'll kick the can back a little bit further even more. Our third story for the day: protesters rally against Trump and Musk in hands-off demonstrations across the U.S. Happening on Saturday, over 1,300 hands-off protests took place across all 50 states in the U.S. and some international. They united tens of thousands of demonstrators in opposition to policies enacted by President Donald Trump and his advisor, Elon Musk. Organized by coalitions of more than 150 civil rights groups, labor unions, and LGBTQ plus advocates, and some veterans groups as well. The protests can voice concerns over mass federal layoffs, agency closures, cuts to social programs like Social Security and Medicaid, and implementation of broad tariffs that have destabilized the markets. We've talked about that quite a bit over a while and also today. Major cities including New York, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, and Chicago, with significant turnouts, with some gatherings exceeding 100,000 participants. Smaller towns also joined in with the fight and, of course, didn't have quite the numbers, but they did get their names registered as having their dissent into this motion. The international solidarity was evident as demonstrations were in other big cities like Paris, London, Berlin, and Stockholm. In D.C., immigration activist Grisa Martinez Rosa addressed the crowd, declaring, "I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unfair, queer, and unashamed." Her statement resonated widely with emphasizing the diverse concerns of the protesters. Many people are joining these protests from many different backgrounds that you would not think would be a similarity. You wouldn't think they'd actually be one and the same. But it turns out if everybody has a lot of problems with a certain person and they all come together, they make a lot of noise. That noise is usually heard. We'll see coming here. Another oopsie from the Trump administration. They accidentally sent out orders to send all Ukrainian refugees home. But it was an error. So let's go into this. Middle last week, on April 3rd, the Department of Homeland Security actually mistakenly sent out emails to multiple Ukrainian refugees who live here in the United States under the United for Ukraine program, U4U program. These are people who have fled Ukraine because of war efforts or have been out of the nation for other things and aren't want to go back so quickly, so they're here under this special protection program. Of course, it told them they had been revoked, protections are gone, they need to leave in 7 days. The message warned the failure to comply would result in law enforcement actions to removal from the United States, i.e. deportation. The next day, on the 4th, DHS actually said it was an error, stating that the email had been sent inadvertently and that the U4U parole program had not been terminated. Follow-up email was sent to the affected individuals clarifying the action would be taken, no action would be taken regarding their parole status. But here's the problem. The email was sent, meaning someone actually wrote this email. So the email was going to be sent probably by some point anyway. Someone took the time to draft the email, put it into an email machine, and have it sitting there on someone's computer to be sent accidentally to this list of people that was already there means something. It means they were probably going to lose their status anyway. It just wasn't supposed to happen on the 3rd of April. So there you go. It brings more concerns to other larger programs, other advocacy groups, and other parole type of situations where people are sitting here. Hopefully they be safe from whatever's happening where they were from, and then being told to go back to where they came from. A lot of that is happening these days based on the Trump administration, revoking visas and revoking papers for many folks here on well-negotiated terms. But we're going to find out what happens. In December of 2024, approximately 240,000 Ukrainians have been admitted to the U.S. under U4U, established during the Biden administration, of course, but the future of these individuals remains uncertain as policy changes happen all the time. 240,000 Ukrainians are here doing something but trying to stay away from the conflict in Ukraine. And we may be sending them back on purpose or accidentally. This is the first case of people backing up someone who is backing up and not backing down from Donald Trump. A law firm who is essentially going against Donald Trump's in an amicus brief had 500 law firms back it up. This is being Perkins Coie. I believe I said it right. Over 50 of the 500 law firms have united in support for Perkins Coie LLP by filing an amicus brief challenging President Donald Trump's executive order that imposes sanctions on the firm. The collective action underscores the legal community's concern over what they perceive as an abuse of executive power and threatens the independence of the legal representation of all. Now, the order signed by President Trump, it basically suspends security clearances for Perkins, Coie, and other type of firms like that. All attorneys that work for them can't get security clearance or have them terminated, have them actually put on hold. All federal contracts they have are basically cut, and of course they can't have access to federal buildings, which means they can't represent any other clients who may not be a part of the federal government for federal government cases in the future. These measures are reportedly in retaliation from the firm's past representation of clients and causes opposed to Donald Trump's administration. Notably, they worked for Hillary Clinton. This happened to many other people, other firms going forward. Now, most of those firms has basically capitulated, and what they've done is said, okay, we'll stop whatever you were asked for, and we'll do some pro bono work for things that you, the Trump administration, would like us to do. And many firms do that anyway, but this is basically not pro bono work just in general, but for firms that are things that will cover President Trump's administration stuff, like some of these cases about, immigration things. The amicus brief was submitted to the U.S. District Court of the District of Columbia, asserting that such executive actions pose a grave threat to our system of constitutional grievance and the rule of law itself. It warns that any legal representation challenging the current administration now risks devastating retaliation, potentially creating a chilling effect on the legal profession. Anybody who wants to go up against the government will be basically blocked like this. This coalition includes a broad spectrum of law firms. It's notable that many of the nation's largest firms by revenue have not joined this brief, though. Kirkland and Ellis and Latham and Watkins are absent from this list, a decision that has drawn criticism from many quarters. As I said, many other firms that were already hit with these sort of claims, charges, if you will, have basically rolled over and said they'll do what the president has asked. So there's that. We will see what happens. Some are actively negotiating to get themselves out of some of these things, get a little bit less going forward. You will see some of those listing click the link for the story in the full presentation for this thing here. We have get through five stories, wrong show. Thinking this is the weekend show. 5 stories down, 5 more to go. But quick brief talk to get you to help us grow our work here. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like the video you're watching, and like the audio you may be listening to if there's a replay there, or like anything we do, any of our products along the ways in any of our places. Go to our website and see the various places you can find us, mostly in video. Long form here for Facebook, for X, and for YouTube, and some short-term stuff on YouTube and, of course, on TikTok as well. If you like it, I know I'm picking the right stories, doing the right bit of commentary, saying the right words for you, and the algorithm thinks the same thing, and it will share it with more people to hopefully make us grow. If you share it with people who are like-minded and already love this stuff, maybe they will like it as well, and of course, maybe they will share it with other folks who will make this thing grow. And if you subscribe to it automatically, you get it in your feeds, you get it in your inbox, you get it to you directly, whether it's our email newsletter, or it's our audio podcast, or our YouTube going live around 6:30, hopefully today. You will get it directly into your feeds, however you like it, so you can get it straight on to you. Check it out by going to our website, conversationprod.com, and find more ways to find us, or subscribe to this thing right here, right now that you're looking at here. Like, share, and subscribe. Help us grow the News Nerd Nation. FKA Twigs is a performer. I'm sure she's a great performer. I can't know what she actually sings. I'm sure I've heard something, but I don't know what it is. But she's not coming to Coachella. She's canceling Coachella and her full tour here in the United States because ongoing visa issues. She's already having visa issues, and that's on top of the visa issues other folks are having coming in and out, back and forth from this nation. British artist FKA Twigs has canceled her upcoming North America tour dates, including performances at Coachella Music Valley Festival and Arts Festival at Mexico City's Axe Ceremonia Festival due to ongoing visa issues. In a statement, she expressed deep regret, noting that she had poured her heart and soul into creation of her music and the tours, and she intended to share the acknowledgement of the impact of her fans who made plans to spend money and attend those shows. She assured her followers that if efforts are underway to reschedule the affected concerts in San Francisco, New York, Chicago, and all through the end of June. The development follows previous postponements of the North America tours and many other things. Hers, the Eurosexua tour last month, that part, which was attributed to visa complications. At the time, FKA Twigs indicated that her production team had failed to submit necessary visa paperwork promptly and led to some initial delays in getting people in. Fans holding tickets for the affected shows are advised to consult their point of purchase for refund details. FKA Twigs has pledged to provide updates as soon as the dates are possible and confirmed. Disappointment among fans, in particular regions, sparks big issues where there's lots of cancellations in large places, including Mexico. Supporters have expressed frustration over recurring issues on the impact of their plans. The biggest issues with visas, though, happen to be coming through the U.S. because we're having the upgrading of people checking on visas, checking on papers, checking on folks for their immigration statuses. And people coming in and out have been very vocal in saying they're worried about leaving because they can't get back or coming in because they'll get kicked out in the first place. I live in Little Rock, Arkansas. And one of the things that is great about Little Rock is their marathon. It's not they're all 26 miles, but it's not the largest gathering, but it's in a very beautiful scenic places. You get to see a lot of historic and beautiful homes, a lot of beautiful spaces here, see the Arkansas River, and it has one of the largest medals in the marathon circuit. People who go medal surfing come to Little Rock for this really big dinner plate sized medal. So maybe if you're looking to get an extra medal or something that's a little bit different onto your category, into your catalog, into your collection, North Korea has something for you, as it will hold its first Pyongyang marathon in 6 years. Yes, April 6, 2025, it will be the first time you can get a chance to run in this marathon. So it happened. But they reopened, so they're reopening the marathon for folks to run. They have a 10K, a 5K, a full and a half marathon, all happening this year to happen. Now, the actual reasons they hadn't been closed down is mostly due to COVID-19, because everything's been shut down and people weren't traveling. But now that people are traveling again, people are back up and again, you can go to Pyongyang and run in a North Korean marathon. Now, make sure you have all your paperwork gathered and you're prepared for anything going on. They get participation from many nations, including China, Ethiopia, Morocco, and more, because it's a big deal. Marathoning is a big deal for folks. The opening ceremony will take place with Kim Il-sung Stadium in Pyongyang, and notable folks will be probably the Prime Minister and Minister Kim Jong-un as well. You'll see all those folks who are doing the great things for that. One of the big things about this is North Koreans win all the time, so they get good medals for showing up. But it'll be a big time had by all, and if you really want to risk it, get a medal from the Pyongyang marathon. It's possible. You can do it. Not sure why, but you can. Disney saw the writing on the wall with woke Snow White, or to be more specific, the Snow White live-action remake that took the story and turned it topsy-turvy, so it was nowhere near recognizable to the original movie, which was based on an old fairy tale, and for various reasons, doesn't quite work as well as it does right now, and of course, need to be longer. So, because of that, development of the remake live-action for 2010 animated film Tangled, which follows a new version of Rapunzel, have been scrapped because of the underwhelming box office performance of Snow White, the adaptation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Budget of $270 million for Snow White so far in about 3 weeks, $145 million there. Oh, your bonus story for this one: Minecraft movie outperceived performance. People seem to love it. It was the biggest outperforming movie of the season so far. People want to see Minecraft, didn't want to see Snow White. There you go. Who knew? Well, apparently Minecraft people knew and Snow White people didn't. So that's what's going forward. So with that, Tangled, the project, has been killed. Actively developed by Michael Gracie, known for directing The Greatest Showman, and also Jennifer Caitlin Robinson, who did Thor: Love and Rockets. A lot of details going to go into this movie, making it a bigger, badder, better show, including the story of Rapunzel, a princess who is kidnapped by a evil witch who has a spell put on her to have her hair grow to amazing lengths, and hilarity will ensue in the process. With the way this one works out, where a rogue finds her, frees her, and in the process of trying to find out who she is, Rapunzel. Then they cut her hair off. Then they grew her hair back for the TV show. It gets all crazy after that one. But Rapunzel, the Disney movie, i.e. the Tangled version of Rapunzel, isn't happening. Some adaptations like Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, and Dumbo have worked. Well, actually, Beauty and the Beast and Lion King have worked. Dumbo, not so much. Retelling, because a lot of things in Dumbo can't be done these days because we're different people. And same with Snow White. So the studios are finding that trying to keep up with its IP by making these things again and making these things in live action may not work so well going forward. The Tangled remake is now gone. Maybe something will pull it out of the weeds someplace later. But for the moment, the love of live action remakes for Disney is not quite lovingly for them. Alex Ovechkin breaks Wayne Gretzky's goal record, UConn's women win 12th national championship over South Carolina. Two stories in one. Yes, this was my main way to sneak in a two-story in here to get you 11 true stories. But since it's a big sports weekend, and tonight a third story, we have the matchup for the men's final for NCAA basketball tournament Division I, which will have Houston, who was able to outlast the darling Duke, and of course Florida, who beat the overall #1 seed Auburn, and they'll face each other tonight for that championship. But for last night's championship, it was done by the girls, and them girls showed out with UConn Huskies winning their 12th NCAA women's basketball championship. So now Gino Amarella is all above everybody else, and senior guard Paige Buckers led the team with 17 points and helped show that she helped build this team to what it is. Freshman Sarah Strong contributed also with a double-double, 24 points, 15 rebounds. This is a great show for those ladies last night. And that dude, Ovechkin, surpassed Wayne Gretzky's goal record, 894 officially last night. Gretzky was on hand to celebrate alongside with them, and the Washington Capitals did a big old jumping on the big guy to show their love for what's going on there. Gretzky, like I said, standing ovation for Ovechkin at the end of it. The problem was Capitals lost 4-1. So there's that. But the history was made by Ovechkin. You can't take that one away from him and us. Finally, have I talked about tariffs? Tariffs are an issue. Tariffs on China are an issue. Tariffs on everyone is an issue. But Nintendo had a big announcement last week when they talked about the arrival of the Nintendo Switch 2, which is still coming on the expected date. Those ships are sailing in. But because of issues with the tariffs, the pre-orders scheduled for this week are now canceled for U.S. buyers. So if you're expecting to get yourself on the list to get a Switch this week, probably not happening. Companies it needs to assess the potential impact of tariffs and in the evolving market conditions. Essentially, they put out the price points of $249.99 for it's by itself, and a bundle with the new Super Mario Kart World at $299.99, basically $250 and $300. But now the tariffs are up. The whole things are going to cost more, so they have to figure out if they need to raise the prices, redo everything, or see what's happening. Now, June 5th is the initial launch date, so it should still arrive. It should be here on the 5th of June. The issue is it going to cost $450 and $500, or in Mario Kart itself, price at $80, or will it cost more based on what's going on? These imports of this is coming from essentially. It's not a China thing specifically, but it's a Vietnam thing where all the parts and things are mostly coming from Vietnam. So with them getting the tariffs too, 46% rate imports on stuff from Vietnam, it seems like the prices have to be eaten by somebody, and all the people eager for the more powerful Switch may have to eat them prices going forward. Let's move on to our teaser story. We wrapped up all of the news for today, 10 stories down from the past weekend, from Friday to early this morning, that you deemed were conversational, and you deemed them conversational, and we picked them from the list. Now, what we did was, these weren't solely picked by you. What we did was we post news articles every 50 minutes or so on our social media feeds on Facebook and X. Facebook.com/This Is a Conversation Project and X.com/TH_conversation. What we do there is we let you engage in the stories. You literally see the stories. You do your engagement. You click on the emoji faces. You click on replies. You share it with folks. The more engagement the story gets, the better chance you have of talking about it. How does that happen? We go through the listing, pull down all the stories from top to bottom, and look at the stories in the top half of the listing. So over the weekend, we get over 90 stories. So we look at 45, 50 stories of the top half and pick 10 of those stories that seem best for narrative versions here, even when I ramble and screw them up in my speaking and reading. Now, today, we're going to tease this story, but there's plenty of stories on the docket. If you see a story and we go to our feeds, Engage in it. Let us know what you think about it. We'll let you know tomorrow how it goes. What we're having right now is a story about Israel, as they essentially control 50% of Gaza, as Palestinians are getting squeezed into shrinking wedges of land. We're going to leave this up to you to talk about this tomorrow. If you believe that we are seeing the Israelis taking a bit of advantage, or the Gazans not quite fighting hard enough to get the Hamas out of their land so they have their land back, you can let us know that we need to talk about this article. If not, we'll talk about 8 other stories tomorrow that are engaging and more worthy of getting into the narrative. Now, 8 tomorrow and the rest of the week, because we'll only do one day. One day is about 30 stories, top 15, 16 of those, giving 8 stories to present for that date tomorrow. So it's just like that. That's simple. Over the weekend, for Friday, we teased RFK Jr. Saying that 20% of the health agencies that he runs, of their layoffs, are probably mistakes. That one didn't get the love that it could have to be talked about. In fact, I didn't think it was going to be that great, to be honest, but we put it out there. Many other stories popped up. It was a pretty busy, hectic weekend of things happening, so it was hard to kind of really weigh things down. As you see, we combined hockey and basketball to make sure they both got in there, because both thought they were fairly big, important stories for the weekend. So there's that. So now that we've done the tease, let's get to our spotlight sponsor for the day. It is Blinkist and the Blinkist app. Check us out at thisisaconversationproject.com/Blinkist, BLINKIST. Blinkist is an app that allows you to catch up on all the books that you have not the time to read, because you can read them. You can read them or listen to them as audiobook forms in what the Blinkist people call blinks, and they are key indicators, key ideas, the big points of the books that can be read in mostly 15 minutes or less. Some of them, if they're really long things like Robert Greene's Rules of Power, need a lot longer to read. And some of them, if there's like long autobiographies, need a lot longer to read. But instead of taking the whole, 16, 18, 24, 38 hours that some of these unabridged books do take, you can get them down in 45 minutes or less. It's that simple. And you can share the love of Blinkist with other folks by having Blinkist spaces. You can create a Blinkist space, share the Blink, the short book, with other folks. They can listen to it as well, and you can enjoy conversation with them inside of Blinkist. It's that simple. Check it out on their premium plan if you will. Now go to our website, use our website link. It's an affiliate link for us. This is theconversationproject.com/Blinkist. This is theconversationproject.com/Blinkist. Blinkist is one of the longest standing book recap websites and apps out there. There's one of the longest standing places to get abridged versions, super abridged versions of books out there. Plus, they have links to the full versions if you want to go buy it on Amazon or other places, because you may just think you might like the taste but want to get the full deal. Check out our link. This is theconversationproject.com/Blinkist. This is theconversationproject.com/Blinkist, and this is an affiliate link. Like we said, get on the love of book, catch up on all the books, over 6,500 books, and growing, in nonfiction and autobiographies there in Blinkist. The Conversation Project lives online at this. It's theconversationproject.com. I am so glad to be a part of this thing we do here. We do it here because it's something I have to do. It's something that's just I'm driven to do. And so since I can do it, I try to do it with a way that it becomes most effective. So we make it not a monologue. It's not just me running down the top stories per some algorithm, or watching the news like I have here and just going through and saying, oh, we're going to do these stories just like they did. We take the prior day, the entire weekend, if you will, and let you engage in the stories and tell us which stories are actually conversational. Somehow this weekend we got a lot of Donald Trump stuff, which I guess is conversational. I guess that all makes sense. But we got some other stories that were also not exactly in the mainstream mix, but you are really the mainstream. You are what we should talk about. So that all happened. And to help us do that, you follow us on our feeds. We talk about those already on Facebook and X, and you engage in the stories so we know what stories to talk about. You can also stop by our website and find more sponsors at the sponsors page. Consider being a partner at the partners page and offering up both more financial security for us and a direct line to help us, talk about things. And just find past episodes and see what we do. Learn more about us at our website. This is theconversationproject.com. Today has been things you might have heard for Monday, April the 7th, 2025. Glad to have you with us for today. Glad to have you with us hopefully all week long. Glad to have you with us in the past. I want to remind you that this is something we do with you and for you. So it doesn't work unless you're a part of it. So follow us in the feed so we can do this thing together. It is what we're doing, and we can engage in these things. It is not a dialogue. It's not just a rundown of stories I pulled off of ChatGPT. It's a rundown of stories that I read through ChatGPT after I got them from you guys. It's that. So there's that. Stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task, my friends, for all the grand things you are here to do in this life. This life, for all of us, should be a marathon. And please don't do what you can, because sometimes we do a lot to do those cans, to make them into sprints. Love you, mean it. Monday's done, a full week to come, and of course, we'll wrap it up again with a roundup of stories come Saturday. What stories will we talk about all week long? They are determined literally by you. So stop by our feeds all day, all the time, and let us know what stories to talk about. We'll see you guys with a Tuesday edition tomorrow on Tuesday.